Dragon Skies VR, in essence, is the dream of my childhood. I'd see those late 90s pixelated RPG characters climb onto a dragon's back and soar off into the sky and think, damn, that must feel so cool. So, fast forward 15 years, and VR hits. And hits hard. And after getting the ball rolling with my first successful Steam release, the Crystal Nebula, for those of you who are interested, I wasted no time in getting this project off the ground. Well, so to speak. Dragon Skies VR is an immersive steampunk fantasy game that puts you in the role of the sole dragon rider in a world of airships and pseudo-technology. You're tasked with the responsibility of basically cleaning up and defending your kingdom from the brigands of the valley surrounding it. The world I'm building is full of these ill-intentioned airship-piloting bandits who are jealous of your dragon and would enjoy nothing more than to take you down a notch. So since this is the first devlog, I figured I would start by overviewing the first 3 weeks up until now of development for Dragon Skies VR. The main aspects of this game have to do with the flight on the back of the dragon, so I figured I would start there and make sure that the flight is actually convincing. And to do that, actually originally I had this system where you have a bit of these dragon reins, right, in both of your Vive controllers, and you steer the dragon by pulling on the reins, kind of like you would, in a fantasy game. But with the addition of the kind of steampunk idea I threw in here, I thought it would be kind of cool to have this kind of control box idea here with the joystick that you actually use with your Vive controller as a joystick. So when I grip onto this, you see that you can start to control the dragon's pitch, back and forth, left and right, roll, and yaw, which is twisting back and forth to turn. You can control all of that. And I really spent a lot of time making sure that that aspect of the game felt responsive, so that when you point down, pick up some speed, and start controlling this dragon in the air, it actually feels like it's going where you want it to go. The other thing that I focused on is making sure that the handedness is, ambidextrous. So I'm choosing to control the joystick with my right hand, and I can have the gun with my left hand and take out this tower that way. But you may very well want to have the gun holstered on the right, control the joystick with your left, pull out the Vive controller on the right, and fire away at your enemies with your right hand. That's up to you. I want to so let me circle back here since I don't want to take it out of my testing area. So I really wanted this all to feel natural, so you can just sit on the back of your dragon and not only have some pretty intense dogfights with the various airships that I'm going to be putting in here that are going to be firing at you, forcing you to dodge and weave, but also just as a game to sort of relax in, so to speak. You know, there are certain areas that are going to be more peaceful, and you can just sit back and kind of look at your dragon taking you high above the world. So let me reorient myself here. So I wanted to fulfill both of those. My big focus right now is the immersion quality, and that a lot of that has to do with the various sound effects that I'm going to be putting in the game, just flying through the air, the various visual effects that I'm putting in, and I figure this is a really good time to address the elephant in the room, or the dragon in the skies. Oh God, forgive me for that pun. Which is VR sickness. You must have seen by now, I'm pulling off some serious maneuvers here on this dragon. You can literally do a barrel roll if you wanted to. There's no limitation on that right now. Whee! Right through the floor. So there's no limitation on the way you fly your dragon right now. So your biggest question probably is, I'm going to get sick, aren't I? Actually, no. You can't really see it in this video because I toned it down way a lot, just because I didn't want it to interact with, the 2D image that you're seeing on your screen, since you're not experiencing this in virtual reality like I am. But there's some pretty advanced vignetting and blurring techniques that I've employed on this. So when you're swinging around at a high speed and making a sharp turn or doing a backflip, anything that has an immense amount of movement to it, the screen will darken and vignette around you, causing a tunnel vision and blurring of the peripheries that vastly combats VR sickness. That was the biggest concern I had for this game, but since testing it with a few people, and them all saying that the vignette system pretty much handled all of their concerns about getting sick in this game, at least when playing it for 20 to 40 minute periods of time, they all said that was fine. And for me, who, believe me, I'm in this game at least 60% of my waking hours developing it, for me it's perfectly fine. So I have the highest degree of confidence that it'll be fine for the future players of this game. So let's talk about the game itself. So when you start out the game, and I haven't developed this aspect of it, but here's the idea. When you start out the game, you're not on the back of your dragon. You're actually in your hometown, which is basically part of your kingdom. The kingdom has a problem with these kind of air pilot brigands who've made camps in the valleys, like the one we're in right now. And so as the sole dragon rider for your kingdom, it is your responsibility to go out and clean up these valleys. You do so in several ways, and each mission in the game is gained as basically a quest from the town that you're in. So there's going to be a lot of that RPG element of going around to town, playing some mini games, spending some of the loot that you get from those missions, and we'll get more onto that later. Don't let me forget. So you spend that loot from the objects that you collect in these types of missions. So you climb on the back of your dragon, you go out on your mission, you have these objectives. So I've already failed one, which is complete objectives before 1 minute and 30 seconds passed. That's why I put this little timer in here showing how long I've been basically gabbing at you. But the top one here is capture soul seeds. So let me talk about soul seeds real quick. Soul seeds are the currency of the game. They're these kind of glowing particle orbs over here. In the game, you'll have to go through obstacles to get these. Right now, they're just kind of floating out like low-hanging fruit. And when you get back to town after a successful mission, you get to buy cool stuff with it. So let's talk about cool stuff. So you see this gun here. It's, as you might have surmised by the way it shoots, not quite just a normal revolver. Not quite a steampunk pistol that you're used to. It shoots these fireballs, for lack of a better term, these hand cannons. Well, that's just the starter ammo here. This gun is actually what I'm calling a caster gun. It shoots magic spells. That's the idea. And throughout the game, through optional objectives, you'll be able to gain new ammo types or new spells to cast with this gun that you can select by pressing the touchpad, and a menu pops up and you select it. Right now, it's the hand cannon. Good stuff. Feels very good. Haptic feedback, all that nice, good particle animation stuff too. But later on, you get things like kind of a shotgun flak cannon blast. You can have freeze rays. The sky's the limit. The dragon sky's the limit. Oh God, kill me. That's one of the big features I want to add into the game. The other thing that you can spend some of your extra currency on is changing the color of your dragon. You can see right now, if I turn around, I got this nice kind of reddish, purplish hue going on here, but you'll be able to customize the look of your dragon as well, and level him up, or her, and get the game as become as powerful as you want to become in the game. as you progress through the story and the missions. So the first release of this game is going to have at least 10 missions, is where I'm at with it. And that's not all I want to do. What I want to do is release this in chunks and have the first game basically be getting things started with the dragon riding concept in VR. As for release dates, just to kind of overview where things are at right now, it's looking like there's at least a month more in development, with a likelihood of there being about 2 months more. I still have to implement all the enemy interactions, which is I'm starting this week, so you'll see the update for that in my second devlog, which is coming next Monday, where you'll see these enemy towers I've been blasting. They'll be fully textured by then. My artist hasn't gotten me the texture for that one yet. But those will be shooting cannon blasts at you, and you'll have to shoot them down basically from the cliffside, seeing debris from these wonderfully fracturing and destructible structures just barreling down the cliff sides. It's going to be really cool, I think, to see and cause that effect. So there's going to be these towers, and then of course in that introduction to the game I mentioned that there's these airships, these brigands in airships. There's going to be at least 3 different airships to start with in the game. There's going to be kind of the one the size of your dragon, kind of the one-to-one, fires at you in his flying machine sort of thing. There's going to be the mid-sized one, which is a little bit rarer, and for later on, that's pretty difficult. It takes a few hits to take down. And then there's going to be kind of the juggernaut, so to speak, which you're going to have to really work towards beating. And that's kind of like the boss of the game, right? And so you can look forward to different styles of dogfighting, where you're the little guy instead of you picking on a bunch of stationary towers and like little puttering airships and brigands who are like, nyeh. So that's the general idea and the scope that we're working with right now. I don't want this to go on too much longer, so I'm going to stop basically stop right around here. There's not too much more to cover. This next week, like I said, I'm going to be focusing on enemy interaction. I'm going to be starting to add in more details to the maps. This is basically a test zone that I've created for the game. And then in the weeks to come, you'll see more of the town interactions, the town folk that you can talk to. I'm going to go for some voice acting and make it a real show. Because one of the key points of feedback that my original post about a month ago about this game is that people feel like virtual reality is lonely. And I don't really blame them. There's not a lot of character interaction yet. A lot of it is very arcade-styled, like one-dimensional gameplay. And I wanted to break that up a little bit because I think people deserve to have some of those experiences that they had in the lab, like that secret shop experience in the lab. I want them to feel that sense of presence in another character. So I do intend to have NPC characters that you can talk to and feel responsive, and a little town that you can wander around and play mini games and spend your soul seeds at to basically make changes to the world that I want you to feel immersed in and therefore a part of. It kind of makes sense. So you look forward to that. Look forward to more updates. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, and you'll see me again next week.